Oh, good afternoon, good evening, or even good morning. We are coming live again. Activate Success Tips, Tools, and Insights to be a leader in your niche. I'm Sandra Horton, and alongside me is Dr. Sujata Ives. And we're going to introduce ourselves as we always do with a quick little intro. And then we're going to jump into chapter 6, which is a really powerful chapter around egoic leadership. So
Great,
over to you, Sujata.
great. Thank you so much, and Sandra. Thank you so much for managing the tech here for us and facilitating these wonderful moments each week. So, hi, everybody. I am Sujata. I am an award winning and certified counselor and workplace global consultant that has had 25 years of experience working with leaders. I am the current president of the Maryland Career Development Association, the chair of the International Committee of the American Counseling Association, the co-chair of the Programming Committee of the Asia Pacific Career Development Association, and the community coordinator of the World Council on Intercultural and Global Competency, UNESCO. We needed a book on self-leading and leading others written by females. So Sandra and I got together and here we are.
I love it. Thank you, Sujata, and appreciate your exceptional work that you are doing. And just a quick introduction, and then we'll jump right into this because I think this is powerful for so many leaders, aspiring leaders, to talk about egoic leadership because it affects, it's pervasive, and it comes historically to us. So I'm Sandra Horton, and I'm very fortunate to have 25 plus years in working in not only leadership, but in change management, project leadership. And I have my MA in leadership, and I'm certified in ProSci change management and as an emotional intelligence practitioner. And I'm actually located just in the suburbs of Vancouver, British Columbia. And Dr. Sujata Ives is over in Washington, D.C., just out in that area. So wonderful, two different beautiful continents. So we are a North American continent, but we are in two different locations coming to you today. And so, historically, what we've been doing is we've been going through this wonderful, our book, the Activate Success Tips, Tools, and Insights to be a leader in your niche. Thank you. We must get that book up, show that book, and which is now an international bestseller, which we're very grateful. And thank you to all those who have picked up the book with our wonderful book and our workbook, which helps to support you as you work through. And the reason, again, as Sujata has said, is that we really found there's a need post-pandemic. And we've been going through these different chapters and just, sharing some of our own insights, some of the experience, the research, the work science, as we call it in the book, and talking about how this new normal phenomenon is requiring us to really scale up, to level up who we are as leaders. And so today we're going to dive in. We've talked about the whole self-discovery, knowing self, moving through change, and building that sustainable impact. But what happens if you're in an organization, and I know you've probably experienced these things, that there perhaps is a leader who is an egoic leader. So let's start with that first, Sujata, in terms of what is an egoic leader. And let's kind of define that, what it looks like, maybe, and we'll know what experiences it feels like. But let's start there, and then we'll kind of jump into kind of some of those aspects of it and how we can support you to move through it and work with them through our book. So over to you, Sujata.
Thanks, Sandra. And we had to put this particular topic, this particular leadership style in this book because we both have experienced egoic leaders. This is about power and control and asserting their privileged power to do something to another person. And doing something to that other person always resulted in some sort of negative reprimand or, letter in their file or, or a trip to the HR office or even
Mhm.
being ousted from the company.
Mhm.
And so then, guess what? The pandemic happened, and hordes of people started leaving. They took this opportunity to get away from those egoic leaders, and it resulted in the great resignation, quiet quitting, loud quitting. You had all kinds of quitting. People just wanted
Yeah.
to get the heck out of there
Yeah.
because, here's the thing, right? Millennials, Generation Z, they get it. It's like, okay, you have the power to hire and fire me. You have the power to put letters of this and that into my, file and so forth and so on. We have to change the workplace towards retaining excellent talent.
Yeah.
And that's why we had to write this chapter where the activators, we always get you started because if you don't know where to start with these activators that we give you in each chapter. And the activators for this chapter are power and awareness.
Yes, absolutely. And Sujata. And so when we talk about egoic, and I guess let's just dive in right now when we say and use that term, I think we need to get that common language and we share that. So can you define what you see and also from like your background as well as, I mean, I know how my definition is and what we have in the book, but I'd like to hear from you in terms of that egoic leader. How do we define that?
Okay. So the egoic leader is the leader that comes to work with a lack of empathy.
Mm-hmm.
This leader is not concerned about helping others, but helping themselves.
Mm-hmm.
So, one of the main themes in this book is change management and effective communication and conflict resolution. Leaders have to adopt a different style because this egoic style, lack of empathy, is not working, especially for the younger generations, the millennials and such.
Yeah, and it's really interesting and from our own experience and again we only have our own experience. And being open, we're building the self-awareness. We can the importance is learning, yes, but it's also understanding how to navigate. And one of the things that we really share, which is important, is how to navigate the impact if you are working with someone, if you have a leader, if you're not in a formal leadership role, and you come into work each day, you're coming in bright and awesome, I'm going to have a great day, and then all of a sudden the next thing you know, boom, you get slammed by someone who is in that leadership style, which is, I'm not going to listen to you, this is what I want, you go and do it. And what happens to you? Your biology changes. You change on that cellular level from the inside to outside, and it has an impact. And if we don't address it, we don't name it, we don't work through it, guess what? It leads to burnout, it leads to illness. And we talked a little bit earlier, through different chapters about these pieces. So I want to explore what are some of the important tactics that we talk about when you're experiencing this type of leader. What can you do? What are some of the things that, you're listening to us, we're here just for 20 minutes, that if you walk away right now and you go, I want to learn more about that, what can I do? Because I want to do something different.
Mhm.
What are your thoughts on that, Sujata?
Yeah. So one of the things that we say in this book is crying is acceptable, throwing up is acceptable, sleeping is acceptable. All those coping techniques are acceptable, except for giving up. We don't want you to give up. We
Mhm.
want you to, within reason, we want you to learn how to get along with all types of bosses. So please continue to do your work within the constraints that this person has given to you. Show that you can follow instructions, show that you can complete tasks, and then bring in a couple of constructs into your mind to cope so that you don't end up, with headaches and stomach aches and stress and, the heart palpitations and so forth. We don't want you to go down that path. So we do want you to use mindfulness. Be mindful of who they are, perhaps how they got there. Maybe, it was a poor childhood, or it was just, lack of opportunities. Maybe they did not have a mentor. So you bring in your empathy, even though the other person is not bringing their empathy. Be mindful of where you are also. What is it that you want to get out of this experience, this job, that you've taken? And the second technique that we offer you in this chapter is a locus of control.
Yeah, that's a powerful one for sure.
Assess what you can control, what you cannot control. And, just remind yourself that this too will pass, because then there will come a day after you build that trust with the egoic leader. See, it's about building trust. So after you've built trust, then you can broach things and questions such as, can we try it this way, this other way? And so we offer you that piece also in the book.
Yeah, and I think from personal experiences is really important, and particularly in change. So if you are having these experiences, it's one thing, yes, we can hear this, but if you yourself are going through a lot of your own change, and perhaps you've had multiple changes and things are happening in your own life, it can seem or appear in that moment, maybe that's a big hill to climb. So taking those small purposeful steps is very helpful. And, I love to be able to share in this short juncture that we have together today is to self-care. You have to self-care. It's so fundamental, because if you become not aware of self and you don't self-care, that's when you're going to lead to burnout, because then you're going to shift in how you cope. And I think that's that key piece, because there's always going to be, egoic leaders. There's going to be different labels attached to the egoic leader. Some can define it as a bully and narcissist, all these different ways of people being defined. And it's how you choose, and it is a choice, and how you respond to that person is the fundamental truth about self-awareness. And one of the things I wanted to add to this, Sujata, for those who are listening, now or later, is to understand your emotional intelligence, understand the emotions that are showing up for you. Because if you're always coping in a way that perhaps is denial or, overgeneralization, different things like that, which we talk about in the book, you may not be in touch with your emotions. So take that moment, be in that present moment, and feel what you're feeling and write it down. Identify those emotions. We link back into the most important thing, which is our feelings, values, and stressors formula. Yes. Where are you feeling it? What is showing up for you? And name it. Take time to do that good work, because I think that is what perhaps for some people can be short, kind of not circumnavigated, but that's that one important fundamental truth that we have to do in order to work through and around, and how you navigate effectively with someone who is demonstrating an egoic leadership.
That's right. That's right. And I want to bring up one important point, because I'm a military wife. And so in this book, we do bring in the piece of military leadership as not being ego-centered leadership. There is a distinct difference between ego-centered leadership that lacks empathy versus the military style, which is very strategic in its approach.
Yes. Thanks for clarifying that, because I think that is a really important aspect. It truly is. And so the takeaways from today is just, again, it's just having the conversation. It's being able to understand that there's different leadership styles, and that's why we're bringing this to you through the book, and understanding and making those choices of how you want to be able to know yourself first as an individual, and then understanding your circumstances that are around you and making those decisions to respond and not react. And we share a lot on that piece. And there are good ways to cope. And I'm mindful of that word cope, good. There's ways that you can choose on how to respond to this situation. And the good news is that as you build the trust, as you work with this individual, you can learn to navigate this so that you are safe, psychologically safe, and that you're able to demonstrate your own leadership.
Yes.
Rather than being directed by someone else, you direct yourself. Self-leadership is one of the fundamental aspects of this book.
Absolutely. So that's where we start. We start at self-discovery. What is resonating inside of me?
Yeah.
That's causing these feelings to come up. Always go to yourself. And to wrap this up, the last statement that I want to say today is that leadership is a matter of intelligence and common sense and humaneness.
Yeah, that's well said. Awesome. I love that. Kind of wraps it all up into a nice little bow. And so we do invite you to please go now to Amazon and pick up our book. Take that time. Or you can go to Amazon and pick it up. There it is. Or go to www.activate-success.com and learn a little bit more. And the wonderful thing is also tack on that wonderful workbook, because it will guide you, it will support you as you go through that opportunities to grow and to really take and activate success in your life. And there are tips and there's tools and insights to all of these things. So thank you, Sujata, for stopping in and popping here today with us. And we'll be talking about chapter 7 pretty quick here. And again, we thank you for your time and your attention, and we look forward to your comments and, of course, those reviews of the book and how it is positively changing your life, because we're able to see that now. We're starting to get those wonderful comments. So thank you again, Sujata. We'll talk to you soon. And to all, have a wonderful rest of the day. Thank you.
Much. Take care. Bye.
Bye for now.